All right, good morning. Happy Sunday. It is challenging to cope with losing an hour of sleep. If I would have been thinking of it, I could have, I suppose, tried to go to sleep an hour earlier. Probably wouldn't have worked, but yeah, here we are. Starting a little late. little hard to get out of bed this morning, but here we are. And we're gonna work on Zom Nom Defense. Zom Nom Defense. And what are we gonna do? Well, I think we talked about last week working on Twitch integration stuff. I actually spent some time yesterday working on this project, working on some things that I thought we would eventually need for this. And also tackling something that was kind of bugging me a little bit. Let me see. Let's look at pull requests. Okay, so everything that I had worked on last night has been merged. So if we run the game, let's fire that up really quick. What I did lately was, you'll notice there aren't a bunch of health bars everywhere. I made it so that the health bars, first of all, on the scrap, don't appear at all. I didn't think this was necessary. The health bars of things display if you hover over them, if the game is paused, or if they are taking damage, right? So the car will have that health bar constantly because it's constantly taking damage, and as its health bar decreases, you'll see it gets more and more opaque. Now, a thing I'm not totally sold on here is that the car and the survivor unit frames overlap and kind of mask each other, and I don't like that, but I haven't gotten around to that. So we can look at the zombie though, right? And I click the zombie, and there we go. So we can see that. I think there's still a bug. Ooh, I think I didn't even log this yet. So let's log this bug before we do anything else. Let me check the whole issues list and see if that's in there. It'd be at the top. Address. Oh yeah, okay. So this is something I opened last night, which is that a growing bit of tech debt in our code base is that as what this game is and does and how I've been thinking about things has changed, I have either started to name things differently in the code without necessarily going back and changing like file names to match, or going back and updating documentation to match, or I use a word. I think about it one way, but the code says something different, or things like that, right? And I want to go back and address that so that things are named in a consistent way, so it's not confusing both to me, but also I'm using a lot of like AI assistance for the code for this, so it confuses the AI as well. And I actually saw a bug that was introduced yesterday because things were inconsistently named. So anyway, that's that. Let me open this bug though, since I've now thought of it. And when I say me, undo and continue, there aren't any actual code changes here, so it's fine. So what I noticed was that when the car is destroyed, and I think we probably saw this in past streams, but it's continued to be a problem. When the car is destroyed, the survivor falls to the ground, but the zombies can't hit them. Let's test something else really quick though before we move on. I think the bulk of today though will be spent on working on setting up Twitch integration, which reminds me of another thing I want to talk about, and you may have already seen in what's already been displayed on screen, or you might notice it now. Right, so we have two survivors. We have Zed and Sloan here. They have names. Although, weird that the names didn't appear until I hovered over. That's kind of odd. So. Okay, so it's just fully broken. Currently, zombies cannot hurt survivors. Okay, let's go back to main menu and do that scenario again. Now, if I don't hover over them, do the names appear? Or... Okay, so there is some bug. So we have two bugs. One more recent than the other. Okay. Let's create GitHub issues for two bugs that I've identified. One bug is that survivors are not damaged by zombies. The second bug is that the name in the unit frame for survivors does not appear until the first time the player hovers over the survivor. And then it's going to think for a bit. While it's doing that, well, not that long. Okay, let's see what it wrote up for us. Survivors are not damaged by zombies. Survivors do not take damage when attacked by zombies. The health system is not responding to zombie attacks. I'm not sure about this one. I think this overstates things. Like, I don't know if it's an issue with the health system. I suspect it might be something where we tweak the zombie to have a closer range for attacking so that the survivor couldn't be hit while they're on the car. So we'll probably refine that first one. Survivor name label in unit frame does not appear on initial load. It only becomes visible. Yep. Okay, so we'll allow that one because I think that one is not wrong. Let's say for the first issue, it may be that because of the decrease in attack range necessary to keep the zombies from hitting survivors on the car in scenario 1, that they now can't get close enough to any survivor to trigger the attack, rather than it could be this rather than. An issue with the health component. Okay, it's not necessary. It'd be fine. That's one thing. So having done this sort of thing for like opening issues, right? So one thing that can be bad in using AI is it builds up a lot of context of like, oh, this is like all the stuff I think I know, and it can get stuck or it can like focus on the wrong things. I kind of like this, having AI create the issue, and then having another AI I have notifications on still, or again, right, because I rebooted and I did stuff. How do I turn off notifications? Do we remember from like 2 months ago when I dealt with it last time? Anyway, before I drift off, but it will definitely like spend time looking at code and trying to take a guess at details. So sometimes that can be beneficial to give the next agent a head start and taking a swing at the issue. And sometimes it's really misleading, so you got to kind of curate that a bit. Navigation stopping distance and attack range are conflated into a single value. Attack range should be separate export variable. Physics and floating point and precision. Probably this. Probably collision, actually. I mean, that might be a good avenue. I'll just allow it to create that issue. And we'll come back to that at some point. Or I'll have AI take a stab at fixing it. Maybe that'll be the fix. Anyway, so we did that. Nope. What am I using for notifications? I forget. Mako? No. I seem to not have, maybe, nope, not in my history. Okay. Let's take a side detour into the disable. Hey, that one. Do we think that's what I did? So, first of all, this is not the right command, as I can see from the help, right? This adds a do not disturb mode, not toggles. Mako's, that looks like that could work. Actually, let's check something, because I definitely went down this route before. Config Mako config mode DND. Mode -s DND. It's really weird. Okay, cool. Okay. I should really think about some scripts for when I go live to like turn off notifications and stuff like that. All right. Well, anyway, here, let's do this. Notes for after stream. Set up a script to start when I start streaming. And another. Yeah. Run Mako something, whatever it was. Mode -s -s Yeah. And then enable streamer mode in Discord. Yeah, it knows. Yeah, cool. That's things for me. All right. Tangent aside, I I had a point to show the game besides identifying bugs, which that as I was showing, we have the health bar has been extended into more of a unit frame, and we can do some more like styling and details and stuff if we want there. But there are names for the survivors, and I wanted to do that last night because I think one of the things I want to do as a feature of this is to have Twitch integration so that people can add their name into a pool or queue of names for the survivors. And we'll do other things. We'll do like event stuff, polls, and those sorts of things eventually. I have less of an idea of what exactly that's going to look like, so TBD on that. Survivor name manager, yeah, that's what it's called. So we have 3 sources of names in this new system that we got together yesterday. Originally this was just a name pool, which is, you know, just like, hey, here's an array of names to use, right? And this is all just like AI generated. I haven't even looked at this, but looking through it, okay, it's names. And so basically what it will do is that when we add survivors, rather than having like giving survivors names in the scenarios, what we're going to do is we're going to, I just thought of something. So anyway, what we're going to do is when the scenario starts, it'll be like, oh, there's 3 survivors. Let me go get names from the pool. And it says, you know, assign name. I think one thing that's occurring to me now is that I don't know that I've seen anything about persisting survivor names across scenarios, which is kind of what I wanted to do. So if you start the game with 3 survivors and they get names from the pool, and it's like Ada and Bo and Cass, right? When you get all 3 survivors through that scenario and none of them die, you start the next scenario, and that scenario has at least 3 survivors. Then the 3 of those survivors will be those names. I guess I don't know that works yet, but I think I might need something fancier than that, because probably what we want to do for consistency is actually have like actual like survivor profiles that we build, and so they're randomly generated, so it's not the same survivors each scenario, but they will persist with whatever they look like, which is interesting. Okay, let me take a note. I'm just going to create a really simple thing here saying profiles that carry through the game / save. What does this look like? When a scenario starts and the survivors are named, that builds a profile that persists into new scenarios in the same save. Discord sounds. Yeah, okay, let me set streamer mode. There we go. Okay, no more Discord sounds. This will let us do things like have maybe some kind of like attributes or skill points, or some kind of qualities, like different levels of health would be the obvious thing, because that's something that survivors have now. There's some stuff I want to do where survivors actually do stuff besides just stand around and panic. And we might have some skill points for that. Maybe, yeah, yeah. I'm not trying to like rebuild like RimWorld or Oxygen Not Included or anything like that, so I don't want to take that too far, but kind of the extreme, right? If like in RimWorld or in Oxygen Not Included, right? It always feels like the dupes or the pawns are very not helpless, but they're kind of incompetent, kind of silly. You gotta keep them from going into danger. You gotta make sure to like forbid areas and forbid things and protect them from themselves. And so I feel like my concept of this game is to take that to an extreme. They can't be trusted with their own safety, and they won't defend themselves. Now hopefully we do that in a way that's not too annoying. Okay, so we'll leave that there. All right. We shall put this into a milestone. Let's put this into advanced features for now. We'll come back to this. All right, lots of tabs. Okay, so the whole point of saying that is that, okay, we have an array of names, but one of the things we're doing here is we have a priority pool. And the priority pool, the system looks at before the base name pool, and then behind the name pool, we have some code that generates names. So I think, let's see, how does the name generator work? Okay, so we take the names from the name pool and we take a prefix and we slap them together to create kind of names that are different from existing names, right? And we just check to see it's not in used names. So used names is how we could keep track of names that are actively not actively being used because that's name assigned. Used names are names that we don't oh no, we do remove names from used names. Okay, so a name assigned as the signal. Okay. Yes. Okay. For the priority names, we keep track of ones that are spent, and we never remove from that. Except, one of the things I want to do today is when we do the Twitch integration, I want to be able to put a name into the queue, essentially. Right? And so what I will want to do here is, and we do save spent priority names, and we save the priority pool. Are we taking a random name from the pool, or are we... we're taking the first. Good. So this should be first in, first out. Like the first name that goes in will be the first name that comes out. So we will essentially let's go ahead and make a code change. Let's create a branch. So I am kind of skipping ahead, right? Because I haven't done any of the stuff about actually integrating with Twitch yet, but I want to make sure that the thing that I need to have as an interface is here. Although likely what will happen is that we will have some kind of connection and we'll have a signal that tells us about a thing that happened, like someone submitting a redeem to add their name. And then what we will do is listen to that signal in the ready here and call our function that we'll have. Let's see. So we have These are all kind of private functions or methods. This one's public. Okay, so I think we will do this here. Add name to priority pool. We don't want to do any of that. So what we really want to do is, well, I guess we can keep the name as empty thing. It's not def. It's the Python in me talking. It's fun. So we don't. I guess if the name is in the priority pool, we can just ignore it as well. So we're just doing kind of checks, prevent adding empty or duplicate names. It's kind of a long line there. Yep. Okay, so we don't want to add the name if it's empty. We don't want to add the name if it's already in the pool. We don't want. Let's make this return a Boolean. So we'll return false if it doesn't work, right? Now, another thing we want to do is we want to make sure that if this name was already used, we don't want to remove it from used names because we don't want to add the same name from the pool to survivors, right? We don't want to have multiple survivors with the same name. So we don't want to change used names, but we have the spent priority names. Remove this name from if it was previously assigned. Yeah. Assigned again in the future. Yeah. Okay, so is erase a method that exists on an array? Yes. Finds and removes the first occurrence of value from the array. If it doesn't exist in the array, nothing happens. Okay, great. I'm not too worried about this array being so large that the performance issue there is that it's talking about is going to be an issue for us. So we'll do that. And then we just append the name, right? And then we succeeded. Is there any other what is this? Shadowing already declared. Okay, so we can't call it name. Call it new name. So this manager is a subclass of node, extends node, and so I guess node already has a attribute called name, so that's what that warning was about. Is there any other logic that we need here to protect us? Like I said, we don't want to change the use names. So this function is going to get called when someone does a redeem on Twitch to add their name to the game. Or maybe we set it so that everyone who's in chat automatically gets their name put into the pool. Maybe we can have a toggle for that. I don't know. So we made it safe to call this method multiple times with the same name. And we have made it so that if you had a survivor and it was named from the name that you submitted, then you could submit it again and you would be re-added to the pool and it would be allowed to be selected again. right? The purpose of spent priority names is to make it so that otherwise, once... Actually, here's a question. Why do we need spent priority names versus removing the name from the priority pool? Okay, let's go look at the code for... excuse me. So how are we selecting a name from the priority pool? Assign name. If not empty, so if there is available priority names, take one and append it. So what do we think about just removing the name from the priority pool? If it's selected. Also, I was wrong. Available priority.pickRandom. So let's see. Available priority names is this method. So this, I missed the part where this is building a list, right? So this is iterating over names in the priority pool that aren't spent. And okay, so I'm gonna change this a little bit. Okay, we're gonna make this get next available priority name, and this is gonna return a string. And we don't need that. And all we need to do here is return in. Yep, or we return an empty string. And at this point, we don't need to do this part. And what we should do instead is priority pool.erase in. Right, so we're going to get rid of the whole idea of keeping track of spent priority names. We'll update the comment. There we go. Okay, so we need to keep track of what we need to change here. So basically what I want to do is I want to look for things that are no longer relevant and delete them, because that will make the syntax checking here automatically surface the things that I need to fix. So like this is going to be available priority name, get next priority name, if available priority name is not empty. We don't need to do that. I guess we're gonna find out if I'm wrong about making this change when we look at release name. Right, so we're just gonna say chosen equals that. Okay, and so in release name, we do have a thing here. The only thing we do differently is how we log. I don't think that's relevant. So the difference in behavior, like, this is a design decision, right? Of like, we could keep track of the names we use so that they're not allowed to be used anymore, but that makes more work for us because we're going to be able to add more names into that priority pool, versus just simply removing the names from the priority pool. So we don't, I think the reason is this is like this is because in kind of that pattern matching that the AI did, it was like, okay, well, you have a priority pool and you have a normal pool, and why would they be different? Like, the only thing about them that's different, and the way I specified it, was that the priority pool should be checked first. And then yeah. So anyway, I think this is fine now. Does this change? Obviously, this changes this. We don't have to worry about looking in the spent priority names and cleaning that up, because simply adding the name to the list to the end of the array will do that. So this becomes simpler too. Right? And so that's a good sign when you are refactoring something. If you call this refactoring, I think Copilot wrote some unit tests for this. We may break them, but you know, we're doing the same thing but simpler. Right, so we don't have a spent priority names that we need to keep track of or clear, nor do we need to do any of that. This log can be simpler. This cannot be here. Okay, get available names. Okay, and so this is a bit of logic that I don't think was ever necessary. I get why it's here, right? So if you're like, oh, we've seen this name before. If someone, okay, so like we have a pool of names, right? So we have like Ida. If someone submits and puts into the priority pool Ida, I think we should still be able to pick that name out of the normal pool, even if it was submitted in the priority pool. Right? So get available names. Returns all names that are not currently assigned to a living survivor and have not been permanently consumed as priority. Okay, that's not a thing. Right? So we look at the things in the name pool and we say, hey, is this currently being used? No? Okay, cool. Add it to here. So where is get available names? Oops. I don't know what I just pressed, but I don't want it. No. What are you talking about? I must have hit a key that like opened a workspace or something. I don't know. Okay, what is get available names used then? Get available counts. Okay, and assign name. I think get available name should be renamed. Get available normal pool names. See, this is a lie. I think there's an underlying assumption in here that any name that was ever in the priority pool that gets used should never ever appear again, and that is a not a requirement of this. So what is get available count used for? It's used in tests. Okay. mixed feelings about that. I think so. Getting spent priority names? No, no, no. Okay. Yeah, so some things that we'll need to do there to fix the tests. Anyway, okay, enough of this. This is just the thing that we need to be able to do a thing. But let me do this. Let's commit this. Note that the unit tests are now out of date and are failing and should be updated to match this change. Now, if I wasn't being lazy and wanting to kind of move on to other things, really what I should do in a commit like this is also update the unit tests. Excuse me. Sorry, feeling I don't know. I'm kind of worried that I'm getting the warning signs of a cold or something. But we'll power through it. Okay, so how do we do this? So I had Copilot write up this ticket for me. Well, originally in November, but we updated it because I discovered Twitcher. All right. Yes, so this project is a full Twitch library for Godot. And so what we're going to do today is use this. It's made by Connie Dev, who I've been to some of their streams, often Temptic404, who's been here from time to time, and who I've been to their streams from time to time, but they'll rate this person. So I probably should have paid more attention to things going on there, but regardless, we're gonna figure this out. So seamless Twitch integration for Godot 4.4 plus. I think did I I could have sworn that I did something. Oh, I know what I'm thinking of. So confused. It kind of wires crossed there for a moment. It's because I was thinking there was supposed to be something new in add-ons, but the thing that's supposed to be in add-ons is a thing that's in a different pull request, and it's not this. It's a different add-on, Dialogic 2, for the tutorial stuff that we were talking about last time. So we'll come back to that. It's something that I'm I have some kind of draft stuff going, but for today we're gonna focus on this. And so installation, get the add-on, just search for Twitcher in the Godot asset lib and click download. So we'll do that. Right, so we'll go to asset lib and we'll search for Twitcher, and there it is. And we can download it. And we'll just put it directly into add-ons. So, so what I did with Gut was I ended up using Git submodules. When I tried to do something very similar with Dialogic 2, there was some issues. So I think I'm just going to go this route of just downloading the add-on like this and installing it into add-ons. And we'll do the thing. Great. Let's reload our project. Just basically see a lot of those warnings and stuff in there. So let's move this. How do I? Oh, we are. Okay, great. So ignore me. If we look at output, so we see cannot open file, editor OS settings T-res, editor OS. Okay, so this stuff that we'll need to do here shortly. This is the music track. Okay. Why is there someone talking to me? Okay, back to this. Enable the plugin. Okay, kind of next obvious step that I wasn't thinking of. Project plugin, project settings, plugins, Twitcher. Ta-da! Okay, and then it gives us a little setup thing. So, use case. To help you with scopes and authentication, please select your use case. I want to make a game. So this would be user read chat. So this will allow our game to read someone's chat, whoever is playing the game and is then linked to their Twitch account. Informational notifications, user write chat, so send chat messages, and user bot, join a specified chat channel as your user and appear as a bot, perform chat related actions as your user. We can do this. There are some additional things we'll probably want to do. We'll want to be able to manage polls. Let's do manage predictions as well. So we can, I think, I hadn't even thought of predictions, but it would be cool to have it automatically put predictions into the channel, right? We don't need any of these other manage things. Probably want read polls and read predictions if we're gonna manage them. Read redemptions, read channel points, customer rewards, and redemptions on a channel. Manage redemptions, manage channel point, customer rewards, and redemptions. So I think this would let us have the game automatically create a redemption while it's running. So that would be really cool. And I don't think, I mean, how cool it would be for the game to automatically create a clip. But that could be a future thing. Okay, I think that should be sufficient for all the kinds of things I was thinking of doing. So save those scopes. That creates a resource file for us. Okay, so that's the use case. Show on startup. Probably not. Credentials that are used by the editor and game to connect to Twitch. You can request your credentials. Yeah, more information. Twitch Dev Console. Utilities. You can download all the channel points rewards as resources for easier maintaining, easier access to the IDs. Only rewards created with this application can be updated here. All other rewards are read only. Oh yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. I'll name Twitch. Modify the scene with your configurations when you want to use Twitcher this way. Easy access everywhere. Disadvantage will always be initialized even when you want to test the small scene standalone. Twitch will do authentication. I see. I probably don't want that then. Should Twitch user inspector automatically load the current user when empty? I don't know. I don't know what that does. And I don't know about this yet, so we'll leave that alone. So yes. So these will be the things that we will need to provide a UI in the game, in the settings, to be able to like populate. But this is for our experience in the editor, right? So, part of that I will, hold on, let's see. Okay, good, it masks it. Great, okay. So, we'll go here. I don't think I have anything secret here. So we're gonna register a new application. This is gonna be Zom Nom. Let's do Zom Nom Defense. And we need a auth redirect URL. And for right now, that shall be this category, game integration. So this is what we should pick. Hold on, let's look at the docs again. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. On screen, to enter your Twitch application credentials and selective required OAuth scopes. Let's do this. Let's I think what we'll need to do is have fewer tabs, probably. Godot. Right, so this will be specifically for the Godot editor to use, and we'll select confidential here. And then I will create another application just called Zom Nom Defense that will be very similar, but it will be public. Apparently I'm creating clients too fast. Please try again. Doesn't like me. Okay, there it is. Okay, so then we manage this, and we have a client ID, and wait, this was supposed to be confidential. I'm confused. That's weird. Is it because I said it was a game integration and so it forced it to be public? Or did I do this accidentally and nobody said? I don't know. Let's try that again. So okay, here, this is other manage. Okay, there we go. Okay, and so we're gonna take a break here because Twitch is going to want to run ads. So I'll be right back, and I'll have plug this in, and we'll see what happens. So.